Good evening, IL family, and welcome back to your Monday night broadcast here where we talk about positive living via simple truths. It's Lady Timiel here, and I just want to thank you for tuning in this week on a topic. We have been talking about basically our center and getting centered and biblical meditation and how we find our center and how we stay centered. But tonight, I want to talk to you about something that just really I guess was put into words on today for me as I was just communing with God and just kind of thinking about where I am in life and what life is, and just trying to put a word around or something to basically say what all that is going on in my life right now. And so I want to talk to you guys tonight about turning points because I had an epiphany as I was sitting and just kind of thinking about how life has somehow seemed to come at me in the midst of, a year that seemed so well planned, so well set to go, and that God has been exponentially moving in my life on this year. And I believe that He has also been moving in each and every one of your lives, those of you who are walking the path that He's given you for this year. And I want to talk to you guys about turning points. And so the reason why I want to talk to you about this is because one thing that I have been saying, as I go and talk in my coaching group, as I talk to people, one of the things that I've been saying over and over, and it just hit me on today, is that I've been saying that with everything kind of getting off course, I've been trying to get back on track. I've been trying to go back and get to a place of where I was. And so today, as I was beginning to pray and meditate and think on those things, one thing that God reminded me about is that when you begin to experience different things in life and the different seasons come and those moments in life that seem to shift or change the direction of where you're going, it's like the wind pushing you somewhere else and you seem to be going a different direction. What God reminded me of is the forward thinking that He's called us all to walk in, that thinking that just keeps moving ahead, because I kept saying out of my mouth that I'm trying to get back to a place. And what God reminded me of is that when these shifts happen in your life, when you have these moments where something comes in an instant and it begins to change the outcome that you thought would happen, or it begins to change the path that you're on, the thing about it is you need to look at this as this is a turning point in your life, and this is a pivotal moment. And it's not so much of, a lot of times I think that we want to gravitate and we want to go back to where we was, because maybe that was a comfortable place, maybe that was a place where you were beginning to experience the blessings and the manifestations of God. And so when something comes in and begins to shift you, all of a sudden you're thinking, hey, this place I was in was a really good place, and so I'm trying to get back to that place where it was really good at, versus looking at this as this shift has come in for a reason. This shift has come in for a purpose, to push you to a different place, to turn you on a different path. And so on tonight, just a very quick message. I want to remind you guys that when life happens, and you guys know that's my statement, when things happen and the winds of life begin to come and things seem to begin to shift you and to move you and to propel you into different places, I want you to be reminded that these are turning points. And if you keep turning and you keep turning and you keep going in the same direction over and over, eventually you're going to end up where you started. But the question is, do you want to end back up in the same place you started? Or do you want to go further down the road to a place that you may not know where you're going, to a place where you may not necessarily know what's up ahead, but all you know that it is forward. And all you know is that God is allowing the shifts in life to move you to a different place. He's allowing these seasons to come in that move you out of your comfort zone. These seasons that move you out of that place that you thought was really good. Are you willing to allow God to take those things into turn? And even though it may seem like you're turning, because it seems like it's turning your life upside down, what you don't realize is that even in the midst of it, what you see as a turn is what God is using to move you to a different place. And this was so evident to me recently, just over the last couple weeks and last few days, and just and what I saw as familiar territory, and what I saw as places that were of comfort, and places where they're good places for me, and places where I flourish. But I found that in those places I still wasn't comfortable. There still was something missing. There still was something lacking. And so as God spoke to me on the day, he reminded me that when I take you through these shifts, and when I take you through these changes, and when things begin to happen in your life, they're turning points, and you've got to allow the turning points to help push you forward. And I may be pushing you out of a place that you enjoy. I may be pushing you out of your comfort zone, but I'm pushing you forward to further into your destiny, further into those things that I've called you to. So on tonight, I want you guys to be mindful of that when you begin to experience things, when you begin to have the what I call the floods of life, or the shifts, or the winds. And when I say this, I mean I'm talking about something where it's jarring you. I'm talking about something where, it's kind of taking you off your course, off your game. Look at it as a turning point. Don't try to go back and get to that place where you were. Ask God, well, how is it that we move forward? How is it that we take this thing that seems to be turning me upside down, and then but yet it's really not. It's propelling me to move forward. Ask God to help you to see where your next movement is in the midst of that. And so, on tonight, there's two things that I thought about. First of all, I thought about, in the Bible, actually Abraham and Lot came to me, because I know that Lot wanted to stay in a comfortable place, and Abraham was obedient and followed God. Because I was reading a scripture earlier today, and it talked about how Abraham had just faith to believe that God could do anything, whatever he said that he could do it. And I remember, and I thought about Lot, and how Lot became that dead weight, because Lot wanted to stay in a place that was familiar. And so let us have the spirit of Abraham, where we just believe that God can do anything, even in the midst of everything that's going on. And there's one song that came to mind to me, and I think it's the mindset that we need to have when we decide, when we take on this mindset, when we take on this approach. And the song simply said, a very familiar song, it says, I have decided to follow Jesus. And you know that the chorus goes, I have decided to follow Jesus, and it repeats that, and then it says, no turning back, no turning back. And the second verse says, though none go with me, I still will follow. Though none go with me, I still will follow. No turning back, no turning back. And when he begins to shift you, and when he begins to allow things to come in your life that are moving and they're pushing you, sometimes it pushes you into a place of solitude, where you are alone, where it seems like, hey, back here I had a group with me, but now where I'm standing now, God, I feel like I'm by myself. But you know that you're not by yourself, because he is with you. And so you still, in the midst of that, you got to have the attitude that I'm not going to turn back. The third stanza says, my cross I'll carry till I see Jesus. My cross I'll carry till I see Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. When things seem hard, when we all have a cross to bear, when things, when you go from life that seems to be at peace and be good and everything is great, but then something comes in and it doesn't seem like life is so smooth, and you have that cross to bear, still keep in your mind that there is no turning back. And the final thing says, the world behind me, the cross before me. No turning back, no turning back. So I don't know on tonight if you're one of those people that you have decided to follow Jesus, but I want to remind you on tonight that if you've decided to follow him, you are going to reach some turning points in your life. You're going to reach some moments in your life that they absolutely change the course of your life. But if you've decided to follow him, then follow him. It is a forward walk. It is not a walk that looks back. It is not a walk that tries to get into a place. And I had to remind myself that on today, you're trying to get back to something that was comfortable, something that seemed great, but God has got better for you ahead, because he's now shifting you and pushing you. And that may be you on tonight. And so I just want to encourage you not to be discouraged in what you're seeing, but keep moving forward. This is just a turning point for you to move forward. I hope that you've enjoyed this on tonight, and I thank you for tuning in. Everybody have a good night, and I will talk with you next week.